G'day guys, and welcome back to Motocapers. Well, as you can see, it's time again to do a little bit of work, upgrade work on my Royal Enfield Super Meteor 650. So, like you would have seen online, probably quite a few places, a lot of people are having trouble with their original bloody shock absorbers. I'm no different. I'm a bit of a heavier rider, just over 100 kilo, and for me these shocks tend to bottom out quite a bit and make it a little bit uncomfortable to ride the bike. So with that said, I have purchased from the UK some Hagon aftermarket shock absorbers for my Royal Enfield Super Meteor 650. So if we look inside, obviously there's the receipt from Hagon. You get some stickers in the box, which are pretty cool, and a product manual, and obviously two beautiful aftermarket shockies. Right, so I have ordered these shocks in the slim stainless steel. I'll put a link to the exact type of shocks that I ordered in the description below. And you know, it should take us probably no more than about 10 or 15 minutes to replace the original shocks with these Hagons. One good thing about the Hagons, when you go onto the website to order them, you get all of the opportunities you need there to put in rider weight, passenger weight, you know, how much luggage you usually have in your panniers, and how often you have both a pillion passenger and panniers on. And they send the shocks to you already set up for your weight and your specifications. So, you know, really good service. All right, with that said guys, we might get cracking and put these shocks on the bike. So the first step obviously is going to be to get some tools ready and then remove the old shocks. Righto guys, so the first thing we need to do obviously is remove the old shocks. So for that you're going to need a 14mm socket. I've got the bike up on the centre stand to hopefully make the process a bit easier, and you'll notice when you remove this top bolt that the hand grab, I guess, will loosen and come off as well. So we just don't want that lock nut to fall off the other side. Righto, that's the nut off. Now there's a bit of tension on that shock obviously. Right, next, same again, another 14mm. We need to release the bottom bolt. Now on the bottom bolt, on the inside there, is a captive nut, so it's welded in place. There's no need to put anything on to hold that. Now what I've noticed on a few videos that I've watched, when guys have done this process, I guess, and changed their shock absorbers, they've had to put a car jack underneath the rear swing arm just to take the load off the shocks. So we'll see if that's something we need to do. If it is, I'll just have to stop and get that ready, because I don't want to pull these bolts out and run the risk of stripping the threads off. But this looks like it's potentially going to come out pretty easily, which is good. So let's see how we go. Really don't want to wreck these threads. There's a little bit of tension on it, but not too much. I think we might be right. If we can get one out, the other should come without a problem. And there we go. All right, so one out, thread's intact, that's wonderful. Make sure you don't lose those bolts. All right, and now I will just finish off and take this top bolt. Oh, that was bloody silly. Top bolt out. All right, that's completely loose. And then we should be able to just lift it straight out. The new shock should just go straight in its place. There we go, so bolt out. Now it's up to you whether you want to place your hand grips back on. I'm going to, because I find them really handy when I'm getting the bike up on the centre stand. Alright, so give this a wiggle. Oh! That wasn't very bloody nice looking, but as you can see there, the shock is out. Alright, so if I compare the original shock to the Hagon shock, you can see there's a real marked difference in diameter. And you can see here, whilst we have springs, they're nowhere near as substantial as these springs on the Hagon shocks. So hopefully this is going to do the trick and stop me from bottoming out. All right, let's see if we can get this in place. Right, when the Hagon shocks go in, they go in with this part of the shock to the bottom. Right, and just like that, we pretty much got our shock in at the top. Okay, and we have it bit on, which is great. So I'll screw this through a little bit, and then what we'll need to do before it goes too far is get the lock nut on the other end, otherwise there won't be enough room to get that in once we get that bolt through. Right, lock nut is on, that bolt is going through. Right, again, I don't want to go too tight. We've got that in and located, which is great. Now we've got to try and get this bottom bolt lined up and put in place. Alright, so we did have the issue that I thought we were going to have. So what I've done is put a car jack in there underneath the swing arm, and what I'll do is I'll just take up on that gradually until I can get that hole lined up nice and easy. And it shouldn't take very much at all, and with that it'll make it a lot more easy, I guess, to line up. So let's see how we go. I'm just going to raise that up a little bit. You can see the swing arm coming up there to line up. Not quite, so that's going to have to come up a bit further. Right, yeah, we've got a bit of a way to go yet, so what I'll do, I'll crank that up now and we'll see how we go. I think that's getting pretty close. Yeah, you beauty. So we've got it up far enough now where we can get our bolt through nice and easy without stripping it. So, alright, so what I'll do before I put this in is just get some of my blue Loctite. Just put a little bit on these threads to make sure the shocks don't come loose when I'm driving. Now you can torque this up. I think it's about 13 foot-pound is the setting that they recommend. But for me, I'll just put a bit of Loctite. And make sure my shock doesn't come off as I'm riding, because that would be freaking terrible. Alright, again, there's no lock nut on here, just a captive nut that's welded in place already. Alright, and that is the bottom bolt done. What I've got to do now is just back off this top nut, just enough to be able to get the lock nut off. Righto, that's off. I'll get a little bit of Loctite on that thread and then screw that back up. So a little bit of Loctite in this nut. And that Loctite will just help make sure that that nut doesn't come off and release my shock whilst I'm riding, because that'd be pretty terrible. So again, just make sure you get your handle where you want it, in the right place. Right, and now we need a 14mm spanner on the other side. Just to finish it off. That feels about as tight as what it was when I took it off. There's our Hagon shock fitted on the right hand side of the bike. Now, I think it looks really good. If you compare it to the old shock, it's a lot more streamlined, a lot slimmer. There's a lot more coils in the spring, which should give it a lot more strength. And this has been preloaded and set up from the factory for my weight as a rider. So I'm hoping that it's going to make sure we have a much better ride. You can see there that there's a lot more travel on the Hagon shock absorber than there was on the OEM. Alright, so what I'll do now, I'll go through the same process on the other side of the bike, change out the original shock to the Hagon shock, and let's see how we get on. So that's the right hand side of the bike there, and the left hand side of the bike there. Both shocks are on. It took probably no more than about 20 minutes all up, and that was me buggering around a bit. I did have to get a jack, as you saw, underneath the rear swing arm to take the pressure off the rear swing arm a bit in that shock and get that bolt through without stripping it. But yeah, it really was quite a simple job. Right, what I'll do now, I'll place a video up so you guys can see the difference with a camera mounted here, basically looking at the spring and seeing how it travels on just a standard ride. So I'll hit a couple of decent bumps here and let's see how they go. With that said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you got something out of it. You know, time will tell, but I think these shocks will be much better than the original. yeah, I'll keep you posted. Until the next video, guys, ride safe. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing and liking the video. It really does make a difference to me trying to grow the channel. And we'll see you in the next one. All right, ride safe, guys. Take care.
Later that same evening.
He tried it.